set up at the moment. And today is nothing scripted, something that I've thought about since last night. You know, I watched the Super Bowl like many people have. What was it? And uh, and it had me thinking about the quarterback who thought that he had a lot of things going for him in the beginning, going through high school, going through college. He was a phenom, and guessing the NFL wasn't the right system. Struggled for a few years, didn't lose faith in him. People gained some faith in him. Then now he's a Super Bowl champion, and it made me think that, and I hope this inspired you in some kind of way. That I'm sure there's people who, you know, uh, even though that they had faith in you, that you wish you didn't let them down, right? Maybe it was the whole city, maybe it was a whole community, and sometimes in life that's gonna happen. And a little bit about what I went through is, and I'm not looking for anybody to feel sorry for me. I made a major mistake, so human error basically, and I got losing your livelihood and stuff like that. And I heard put people in a tough situation. So I don't feel good about that. But then I always think about, I came in this mission to help guys get their AMP. I help guys do to have a fulfilling career after their military service. That was my whole goal. That was the mission that I wanted to provide. You know, a lot of people think that, because we're doing other things, we're out there. I invested a lot of money putting it back into the business, so that way we can grow. Some people say that is a mistake or an error or a common thing that entrepreneurs see. Never take enough home, and I don't regret that part. It's constantly reinvesting and learning a lot of skills. And even during this tough time, I'm learning certain skills and then of course humble me that it's super important that I do need to get better. There's a lot that I can offer, and then I can also develop. So with that being said is, hey, even though that, and it's not that, it's been happening to this business, it also happened during certain position. I get into a new position, people hate me because I'm in this position, but once you do a good job, their perspective, on you is changed because you proved it, right? And then, it happened in almost in every position that I got into that I wasn't supposed to belong there. And it's really kind of true because I try to make it happen. And you're not gonna make everybody happy, unfortunately. And sometimes the people that you have, or the people that's in leadership, you guys don't mesh, right? But maybe it's your maturity level. Like for me, it was so much that I was coming up being an entrepreneur, and I made a rookie mistake. So with that being said, maybe yourself you're not ready for certain things or how to handle certain things. So you got to learn that, and unfortunately, sometimes it's the hard way. And but some people got hurt by it, and I've apologized to them, and you just gotta. But you can't. What the thing is that you can't let it keep going to bring you down to the rest of your life. You can't get up, or you can't stay down. There's always that Rocky scene. If you haven't seen Rocky, some of you are really young, you probably haven't seen the Rocky movies, but there is, he talks about life's gonna keep beating you down. It's gonna keep beating you, and it's not how. It talks about how you're gonna keep getting up. Are you gonna keep getting up every time you get knocked down? Because life is gonna knock you down. You're gonna come to everybody experiences in their own way some challenges that they had, right? And some people have a challenge that what they're gonna eat the next day. Some people is, losing their livelihood. Some people is economy, they lose their house and all this jazz. So everybody's gonna, have different challenges. So let's not, um, judge those people. But once you come back and you get better, you learn your lesson from it, and find the right people, find your right system, dude, you're gonna come back 1,000 times better. Just like the quarterback from the Seahawks, Sam Darnold, is, um, he just didn't give up. He kept trucking through, finding to fight people. He was finding his groove. He went to some shitty teams, and uh, maybe he wasn't the right quarterback for that system. I'm just trying to be nice here. Or the team organization just wasn't the right fit for him. So either way, it wasn't compatible, right? But then you find the right system, you do well in it, and then you just continue to get better. And in this case, the quarterback became a Super Bowl champion, right? I'm sorry, I'm a big football guy. I love to talk about football. I like to watch football. And uh, so, always finding inspiration everywhere. I find an inspiration in the stories in the Bible. I find inspiration in some of the people who maybe not even my age. I found inspiration in a young man trying to do everything he can to juggle family, uh, work, and at such a young age. You can find inspiration everywhere. And even finding inspiration with my mom, it's just the challenges that she went through. And I'm sure your parents went through some similar challenges as well. And it wasn't all, easy for them as well. So I always like to find inspiration. And so today, this particular part is, like as I do follow football, and he was graded very high. And I'm sure that humbled him. I mean, he's probably a humble person. It seems like it was. And then he got traded around. People didn't take him serious. Then last year he was kind of taken serious, but not that serious where he would make it their franchise quarterback. And then, boom, he got the right fit, the right system, and the people, his, he just didn't give up. And so that's my rant is, you're gonna, people are not gonna like you. They're not gonna like me. They're not gonna like, certain people. You can do all the right things, and, and then you can't please them. Sorry, and you shouldn't let those guys, those people, those comments, or comments, whatever you hear, let it bother you, and maybe you shouldn't even give it attention. I get that too, and some of it, a lot of it is probably, deserved because of the history. So, but you gotta continue to keep pushing through, and don't give up. I talk to a lot of young guys, and they like to blame the system and stuff like that, and you gotta learn to fight through it and find a system that works for you, because you keep being in that system that you don't like, then it's on you. You shouldn't be upset, especially when you have the potential to move around, and there's a reason why there's the golden handcuffs, right? A particular job might be too good, right? But you never really gave you an option with an A&P to, find other opportunities. You're locked down in a location. It's your opportunities, dwindle when you stay in one location. So, not trying to make it too entirely about the A&P, but sometimes you're just not mature. Sometimes your mindset is not there. I used to think that I used to be a bad study taker, and now I've learned how to study. I looked for the help to study, and kind of, instead of having the mindset that keep telling myself I'm not a good study taker, instead of I rewired it and saying that I am a good study taker and I need to expand my my brain to Because this one guy, I remember one of my instructors, he was an engineer. He kept saying the same stuff over and over and over. And it's just like, hey, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. And then like maybe like a year later, and I was like, you know what? Let me listen to this guy. And a lot of the stuff he talked about, it made sense. Maybe because he told me a billion times, but whatever. It now I understand, and now I kind of immerse myself into what he's teaching and trying to understand what he's trying to teach me. And great guy. He's just so excited about teaching, and if you're in my school community on A&P Online School, he talks about all the concepts, and he's so excited about it. And that's why I love to have him on. And he can go into super detail with it. But um, so the whole point of the video, going back, kind of going to the side here, but going back to what I was talking about is, yeah, just don't lose faith. It's, I'm definitely not giving up on this mission. I'm going to keep pushing it. And even, if anything, I'm learning a lot, back into it, just like it was a couple of years ago. And so we're definitely pushing through it. Now nothing's going to stop us. We're, just getting over all the BS and continuing to help military maintainers get their A&P, and so many of you guys get out, and I'm here around the clock to help you guys get started in the middle of it, studying, and then to your next chapter in your life after you get out and finding that career. Because a lot of you guys get stuck there, and it's like, oh, there's nothing out there, but you guys have the skills, you have the experience, you have a little more knowledge than the normal person does. So, today I just want to talk about, like, man, let's stop beating ourselves up, about what happened in the past, and let's just keep moving. If you really are passionate about something else, or you're afraid about something else, that's what's gonna make you. Those bad experiences, you learn from it, and you improve, right? Or shake yourself off. Yeah, you got beat up, you made a mistake, and you maybe, hurt some people, or but like a lot of you guys don't have the intention. Let's say if you did intentional, it's you got to learn from that, and it can change somebody. There's so many stories like that in the Bible where people were a certain way, and then they learned that, like, oh, I can't live that kind of lifestyle, it's bad for you. People who smoke, people who drink excessively, they get a near death experience, or they break up with their significant other because they left them because they drank too much, partied too much, seemed irresponsible, and they switched it. I had that wake up call where I messed up, and I learned from it and wanted to improve from it. So, and it's like, I also learned, like, hey, what's the type of person that I want to date? What's the type of person, what kind of friends do I want to have? Are these friends that are gonna help me get to the next level? Like I was ambitious, but not like super ambitious, and then now I'm just like, now that I open my mind, it's how, like, this is fun. Entrepreneur is like, yeah, I get to help people, and selfishly learning these skills, putting more money into my education, and I can implement it into action. Like, I'm finding more stuff about myself. And then I guess if I don't keep going, and if I didn't keep going helping you guys in this mission, I was like, I'm just, I can be a part of people's lives where they can have an impact in their life, and if I don't continue, I'm gonna miss out on that. So many people, I just feel obligated that I have this skill, I know this, and I can go help those guys out. So, and selfishly, I'm improving with my communication. I'm improving with sales. I'm improving in marketing. I'm improving as a better person because I'm learning from, all my clients and customers, and, from the business side to, even my own instructors. Will's a freaking awesome guy. Watching him, his work ethic, I'm watching him, and uh, just always wanted, to fix things, and that's fucking awesome. I mean, there's some things that he's not great at, like the tech side, right? But I see him how he handles, works with the communication. Tim, super awesome communicator. I learned from him. So you can always learn from people, and I get to meet these awesome people that um, I love to see some of our students. What's awesome is that most of our students are super ambitious. They want to do something. They want to make an impact in their kids' lives. They want to make an impact in their family. They want to, they're just not going to let life, just happen. They're go-getters. And 22,000 mechanics get out, and only, barely even 10% get their A&P each year. So, some of it, I mean, if you don't know, you just don't know, right? Like I didn't know anything about an A&P, right? My mission was, uh, Lockheed Martin, that's it. But, but once you get your A&P, you can not just work at Lockheed, you can also work at Southwest, you can work at American Airlines, you can work at another regional airlines, you can work at Bell, and then there's some secret stuff you can work for that you just don't know about, or just, just small operators, and they do some really cool stuff, like working on aircraft for celebrities. You just think about a celebrity who has a big airplane, like a Boeing, and does this person work on them? Most likely he would. So um, it's an awesome industry, awesome community, awesome people coming out of the military, ready to get to work. And I love following them on LinkedIn. It's like, man, they make me feel lazy. So just keep it going. You can make people's lives, and it's a part of it that you're learning. It's a journey, and it's not going to be always going up. You're going to have some setbacks. All right, people are going to talk crap. Forget about it. You can't control that, and so don't try to control it. And so that's just, people will write you off, and you just come back being a champ. So that game inspired me, watching him operate, just see if he was gonna pull it off. So he can rewrite his own history, and you have every opportunity, especially if you're young, to rewrite it, right? Think about Ray Kroc, or is it Ray Kroc, the McDonald's founder, Colonel Sanders, rewrite, and there's so many examples of the people who started off late and crushing it. So if you're 40, 45, 60 years old, you can crush it. If you're a young guy, maybe you made a couple of mistakes when you're young. I know a lot of military guys, when they were young, when they first came in, they just partied their butt off, and as soon as they get a girlfriend who's not gonna mess around and be with want somebody serious, and the guy will turn it around. I've seen that a lot of times. So let's don't stay down. Get up, dust yourself off, rewrite the history, and be patient. That's something that people don't have, is patience. It's gonna happen, and you gotta do, and even if you can't change their mind, you gotta keep going. As long as you changed it, you're making an impact. That's all that matters. So that's all I have today. It was just an inspiration of that's this person, learning from him that he got to rewrite. He got to rewrite his history, even though it was this one Super Bowl. But I'm pretty sure he's not giving up, because he was already showing flashes of greatness, the year prior, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be around for a while. And his story inspired me, and I'm glad that I love to hear stories like that, whether it's athletes, whether it's, I'm meeting somebody on the street, they turn it around. I love to hear those stories. So I want to rewrite mine. I want to rewrite the history of this business and impact people's lives. And you know, if you have a story like that, let's hear it. I want to hear it. Put in the comments. And yeah, definitely like to hear it. You know, because I'm pretty sure everybody has one. You know, they wrote them off and they came back and showed them up. All right, guys, have a good night. We're going to start making videos at 5:30, so I apologize. You know, just being up and down and schedules. I'm trying to find the good times to be online. And from our community, they talked about 5:30, 5 to 6 p.m. is gonna be good. So I think 5:30 is gonna be here to stay. You know, I'll be all different types of locations. So, but 5:30 is gonna be the time to go to. All right, guys. Peace. I am pulling chalks. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for following our progress for sure, brother. And keep it going. Rooting for you too as well. Have a good night, fellas. Pulling chalks.